Good day, everyone. Now turn our attention into a geological hazard that has far-reaching consequences on both the environment and the communities it affects: landslides. Let's jump right into our discussion with a look at our topic outline. Our exploration of landslides will encompass several key aspects. First, we'll examine the causes and triggers of this hazard, what sets off the movement of rock, earth, or debris down a slope. Next, we'll delve into historical examples, shedding light on the impact of landslides that happen on different regions over time. We'll then turn our attention to the potential consequences on people, property, and the environment. And finally, we'll bring it closer to home with a local case study that provides practical insights into the challenges and solutions related to this natural phenomenon. But before we dive into details, let's establish a clear understanding of what a landslide is. Landslide, as defined, is the movement of rock, earth, or debris down a slope. It can range from small gradual shifts of loose soil to large catastrophic events involving massive amounts of rock and soil. Landslides can be triggered by various factors, including heavy rainfall, earthquakes, volcanic activity, human activities such as mining or construction, and changes in slope stability due to factors like erosion or vegetation loss. In addition to immediate threat they pose to life and property, landslide can have long-term landslides can have long-term impacts on ecosystems and communities.
What is the causes and triggers of this hazard? Some natural causes of this hazard is: first, heavy rainfall, saturating the soil with water, making it prone to slipping. Excessive rain can lead to the overflow of our rivers, streams, and other water bodies, causing water levels to increase rapidly and inundate surrounding area. Second is earthquake, the shaking of the ground causing the slopes to collapse. Because of the energy that the Earth's crust were releasing, it creates seismic waves that cause for the grounds to shake. Third is erosion, a process in which weakens the soil. Erosions have a potential negative effects on ecosystem, landscapes, and human infrastructure due to humans' activities, or can be natural processes that leads erosion of other materials from Earth's surface that leads to landslides. Next is volcanic activity. Landslides may be triggered by the shaking of the ground or the overload of ash and debris on the slope. It weakens the structure of the volcano and the accumulation of volcanic debris on the steep slopes. These landslides contains the mixture of rocks, ash, and other debris. Next is soil saturation. Soil saturation is a common trigger for slope failures. When the soil becomes saturated with water due to factors like rapid melting of snow, it can lose its stability, leading to a higher risk of landslides. The excess water increases the weight of the soil, reducing its ability to hold together. And lastly, snowmelt. Similar to rainfall, it may trigger landslides by saturating the soil with water. Snowmelt drains the water into the ground, making it prone to landslides. For human-induced causes, we have construction. Building and excavating activities disturb the balance of a slope. The removal of soil or rock during construction, like road cuts, building of infrastructure, or other projects, can alter the stability of the slope. This excavation can trigger a landslide. Next is deforestation. It is the removal of trees and vegetation that helps the soil to stay in place. The roots bind the soil together, preventing erosion and reducing the risk of landslides. But when trees are removed, it increases the likelihood of landslides. Next is mining. Removing large amount of soil destabilizes a slope that can trigger landslides. And lastly, farming. Some practices in farming like plowing may weaken the soil. even though the risk of landslides associated with farming depends on various factors like deforestation.
Historical examples of landslides that happened in the Philippines. On February 17, 2006, landslide in Guinsogon, St. Bernard, Southern Leyte, Philippines. A massive landslide triggered by heavy rains buried the village of St. Bernard, Southern Leyte, and reportedly more than 200 people were killed in the slide, with about 1,500 people missing. It is considered the deadliest landslide in Philippine history. The landslide was caused by a combination of factors, including heavy rainfall, deforestation, and poor land use practices. The landslide devastated the village, burying homes, schools, and churches. The government responded by providing relief and assistance to the survivors. September 15, 2018, landslide in Itogon, Benguet. Typhoon Ompong or Mangkut triggered landslide in Itogon, Benguet, killing at least 73 people. The landslide was caused by heavy rainfall from the typhoon, which caused the ground to become saturated. The landslide buried homes, schools, and farms. November 1, 2020, landslide in Gubat, Sorsogon. Typhoon Vamco or also called Typhoon Goni caused landslide in Gubat, Sorsogon, killing at least 15 people. And on September 16, 2021, Typhoon Megi or also called Typhoon Carding triggered landslide in Cagayan de Oro, Lanao del Norte, killing at least 21 people. And for the last one, on November 17, 2022, landslides in Leyte, Eastern Samar, and Southern Leyte. Typhoon Nilgay or Queen Bee triggered landslide in Leyte, Eastern Samar, and Southern Leyte, killing at least 50 people. The landslides were caused by heavy rainfall from the typhoon, which caused the ground to also become saturated. The aftermath of the slides left homes, schools, and farms in ruins, and the government stepped in to provide aid and support to those who lost their homes and livelihoods.
Other historical examples of the hazards include on March 22, 2014, the Oslo landslide in Washington, USA. The Oslo landslide was a catastrophic event that took place in Snohomish County, Washington. Following heavy rainfall, a massive landslide occurred in the rural community of Oslo. The landslide resulted in the loss of 43 lives that caused extensive damage to homes and infrastructure. On January 21, 2023, landslide in Peru. The heavy rains since January 2023 have taken a big toll on Peru. According to the National Institute of the Civil Defense of Peru, 12 people have died, 134,000 people have been affected, and out of which, 19,000 are severely affected or have remained homeless.
The most historical landslide that has ever happened, a submarine slide. The Storega slide is the largest submarine landslide in Earth's history. It occurred approximately 8,100 years ago and released approximately 3,000 cubic kilometers of material into the Atlantic Ocean. The Storega slide triggered a tsunami that reached up to 30 meters in height in some areas, causing widespread damage along the coastlines of Norway, Scotland, and Iceland. The three Storega slides are amongst the largest known submarine landslides. They occurred at the edge of Norway's continental shelf in the Norwegian Sea. Structural failures of the shelf caused three underwater landslides, which triggered very large tsunamis in the North Atlantic Ocean. To put it in perspective, 3,000 cubic kilometers is equal to 50 Mount Everests poured into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, an example of a historical landslide. The 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens in the U.S. state of Washington resulted in the biggest known landslide in history. An area of 62 square kilometers was covered by the results in flow of ash, rock, soil, plants, and water, which had a volume of roughly 2.9 cubic kilometers. A gigantic east-west crack appeared on the top of the mountain, splitting the volcano in two. The ground started to ripple and churn like a pot, starting to boil. Suddenly, the northern portion of the mountain began to slide downwards to the river. It is the largest in history.
The potential impact on people, property, and the environment. The impact severeness is how hard the landslide is, but due to heavy rainfall, the likelihood of occurrence of landslides is high. Landslides are one of the dangerous hazards that cause broken power, water, gas, or sewage pipes, which can also result in injury or illness in the population affected. Landslides affect mostly humans by losing their houses and sources of income such as their farms in provinces. Sometimes, human mental health is also affected because of these losses. Aside from these losses that have been mentioned, other potential impacts of landslides are structural damage, property loss, and disruption to transportation of routes. For the environmental impact, there is the destruction of biodiversity, water quality impacts, and air quality impacts.
So, what are the measures that can be taken to mitigate the risks associated with the hazard? First, the warning system. Setting up communication systems for prompt transmission of landslide warnings to the affected population can provide individuals enough time to escape and take preventive actions. Second, zoning regulations. Implementing and enacting zoning restrictions that limit development in high-risk landslide regions can help to prevent the construction of vital infrastructure and residential structures in susceptible places. Third, erosion control measures. Implementing erosion control methods such as setting up check dams and utilizing erosion control blankets aids in soil erosion prevention and minimizes the likelihood of landslides. Lastly, community-based disaster risk reduction, involving communities in disaster risk reduction planning and supporting local activities boost resilience and preparation.
Assessment of landslide susceptibility, a case study of Carabao Mountain in Baguio City. Given Baguio City's topography, soil characteristics, exposure to different calamities like rainfall, and classification of its land use, it is prone to landslides. The Carabao Mountain located in the north left portion of the city is specifically chosen for this case study because it is the most populated area in all of Baguio. In line with this, extra control measures must be implemented since Baguio itself is one of the most visited places in the Philippines, for it is a tourist spot, especially during the summer season. The two primary external criteria that are used to evaluate the stability of earth slopes are the soil saturation level and the loading that is imposed by land usage. Moreover, in this case study, more column failure criteria parameters are utilized in the determination of the first factor of safety. Using numerous situations, a generic factor of safety is obtained and then utilized to construct a landslide susceptibility map. Lastly, a notable information from this case study is the indication of the general factor of safety, which says that as the degree of saturation of soil increases, the moderate susceptible area increases, which is located at residential zones.
And that would be the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening and have a great day ahead.